Thanks for joining us as we continue with the Live Fully series. I'm a Piney MD coach, Caitlin Barron. In our last day, we talked about the power of hope and how what you hope for can change over time. We also know that even clients who deeply value the power of hope and allow space for their hopes to change over time still experience worry. Worrying is such an expected part of living fully with illness. And actually, your worries aren't your enemy. Today, we're here to talk about 3 tips to help you not just deal with your worries, but begin to look at them a little differently. I want to take a moment and just say this is really hard for a lot of folks. Even acknowledging that you're worried can feel really scary. Talking about it, the idea of worrying, can feel triggering for some. So I just want you to take your time here. We're not here to solve it, but we are here to help you look at them maybe just a little bit differently. All right, let's get started.
I try to stay positive, but the worries, they creep in. This is such a common phrase we hear from clients living with illness. Despite trying to stay hopeful, the worries just come. Our client Cheryl shared with me, sometimes all I can think about is what happens when we run out of treatments for this cancer. What about my kids? Cheryl told me about how, on one hand, she feels hopeful most of the time and has appreciated how her hopes have changed over the years. And at the same time, before scans and on days when she just doesn't feel well, she spends a lot of mental energy worrying about running out of options to treat her cancer and worrying about not being able to be there for her kids. I'm going to pause here for a moment because that's a lot. Worrying about treatments, your health, your kids, dying, those are heavy and really overwhelming worries. When you're living with an illness, the worries can relate to such a wide range of things, and depending on the day or the moment, each of them can feel overwhelming. For example, even on her really good days, Cheryl worries she won't have the energy to see her grandson's soccer games. The bottom line is that a worry is a fear or concern that something won't go as planned or hoped. So here are 3 tips that will radically change how you look at worries. Tip number 1, worries are a part of living with illness, just like hope. Sometimes the worries creep in the quiet moments when you can't sleep at night or before repeat scans or lab work. And sometimes it's just a split second when you're tucking your daughter into bed or when you're enjoying dinner with your close friends. Despite your efforts to remain positive, and we know you're putting that work in, it's the thought or series of thoughts about what if things don't go the way I want? What if this treatment doesn't do what we hope it will? What if I get sicker? What about my kids? Having these worries doesn't mean that they will happen. It's not a reflection on your strength. It doesn't mean you're giving up. And importantly, it doesn't mean that you don't still have hope. It's okay to worry. It's actually completely expected to have these worries pop up. Recognizing that it's expected and a totally reasonable part of living can help you be more compassionate towards yourself when these worries do creep in. Acknowledging that you're feeling worried and validating for yourself that it's okay to worry is the first step to radically changing how you look at worries. Tip number 2, hope and worry can coexist. It's hard to sit with the many worries that come up. Sometimes they pass quickly, sometimes they keep coming. Many people don't want to talk about their worries because they fear it may take away from the positive energy they need to get through the treatment, or their ability to be happy and present around their kids. People worry that worrying negates hope. If I worry, I won't be able to hope, they say. But we know that acknowledging a worry does not take away from hope. You can actually hold hope and worry at the same time without negating or overpowering the other. There is room for both. According to the Journal of Cancer Nursing, patients experience and report hopes and worries together throughout the course of care. They can be experienced at the same time. So yes, there's even scientific data to support that you can experience both in hope and worry. Tip 3, worries can be helpful. Here's the thing, your worries can help you plan for the future. For example, if you're worried about your illness getting worse, maybe you could ask yourself, what would be important if your illness got much worse? It's so much easier thinking about that now while you're at home than when you're sick and in the hospital. If you're worried about being well enough to go on that beach vacation with your family, let your doctors know how important the beach vacation is to you. Then you can work to make it happen together. With our client Cheryl, we talked about what care could look like if she does run out of options to treat the cancer. We took the time to understand what would be important to her and practically how she would want things to function. We also talked about legacy work, which is about proactively creating something where she can share a piece of herself with her daughter and her grandson, no matter what happens with her cancer. With our client Roy, we spoke with him and his partner Alicia together about their hopes and worries. We allowed space to acknowledge both. In talking with Roy, we learned he worried a lot about dying in the hospital without his family. He also worried about burdening his partner with care at home. We thought about the in-home care they might need, the type of care that would make sense for Roy, and even the treatments he would and wouldn't want at the end of life. We filled out an advanced care planning document, and Roy told us, "This is huge. This is for me, but it's also for Alicia, so she knows what I want when the doctors ask her." Alicia told us, "With this plan, I feel like we can give less energy to these worries and go back to living and enjoying again." Worries are meant to be shared, so grab a pen and paper and we're going to walk through an exercise together. What would it feel like to share some of your worries? Who would you want to share your worries with? Now write down one thing that worries you or keeps you up at night and one person you can share your worry with. Pause this video again and jot down your thoughts. And look, if you're not feeling it today, that's okay. Circle back to this when it feels right for you. The bottom line is worry is a normal part of living with illness.
At Apine EMD, we're here to help you explore what you're hoping for, but also talk about what you worry about. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by your worries or afraid to talk about them, we're here to listen and help you find ways to talk about them and create a plan.
I'd love to hear from you. Which tip might change how you think about your worries? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, the conversation happens at apineemd.com. Head over to apineemd.com today and sign up for a free discovery call so that we can help you live fully with illness. And while you're there, sign up to learn the 3 secrets to living well. It's free and it will change how you approach your medical care.